Tastes like cherry Kool-Aid. Hey guys, welcome. My name is Bob, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about nutrition, but specifically about nutrition when you have a race or an event that you're going to be participating in. So the three main pillars, if you will, when it comes to your race day nutrition is going to be nutrition, the food that we eat, when and the timing, the hydration, as well as electrolytes. So we're going to talk about those three things and what you're going to be doing for those for your making sure that you get the best race and event as possible. So let's take number one. Number one is our nutrition. So when we're looking at our nutrition, we really have to, first of all, look at what we're doing for our everyday nutrition for the days and the weeks leading up to the event. We have to make sure that we're taking care of our everyday nutrition. That means that we're tracking our food, we're making sure that we're getting adequate calories, and we're getting a balance of the three macronutrients, the carbohydrates, the protein, and the fat that are going to support your, that are correct and sufficient to support your goals and your training. So if you're taking care of your everyday nutrition, what this is basically going to do is to make sure that when it comes to race day, you have a full tank of gas to be able to do your best in that event. Let's look at nutrition on race day itself. In order to really make sure that we have an adequate full tank, we're going to want to plan a meal to occur about an hour to 2 hours prior to the event. Some people are going to be able to eat closer to the event than otherwise, but you want to give sufficient time for that meal to replenish and top off that tank of gas that you have. Now, looking at the nutrition during the event, we have to consider both the duration of the event itself as well as the intensity of that exercise. If you have that full tank of gas coming into the event, then you're going to be able to sustain your race pace for up to something like 90 minutes to 2 hours. So if your event is short in duration relative to 90 minutes, then your everyday nutrition and the things we've already talked about are going to be sufficient for you for that race, and you're not going to have to worry about consuming any gel packs or any food or meal during that event. It's just not long enough. You're going to have you're going to have plenty of onboard energy to be able to complete the event. Things change though whenever the event goes on longer than 90 minutes, 2 hours, or even longer. Then we really need to start planning consumption of some calories during that event. So when you're planning out your consumption of food during your race, there's a couple of factors that you want to consider. First of all, you're probably burning at least 600 calories or more, like 1,500 calories, depending on your intensity, during that event. But there's no way that you're going to be able to bring on that number of calories during the event. So because of that, you have to be taking on additional calories early on that race, much earlier than ever reaching that empty tank. So you got to get a head start on that and plan out that calorie intake. So let's look at those. If your strategy is those gel packs, you look on the back of that. The gel packs, I think will have about 100 calories. Different gel packs may have different number of calories. But if I'm going to be replenishing somewhere between 200 and 600 calories every hour, I'm going to plan out as that race is going, just like clockwork, taking on those gel packs about every 20 or 30 minutes, making sure that I am hitting my target well in advance. So I'm not going to wait until 2 hours into the race to start taking my first gel pack. I'm pretty much going to be looking at maybe about 20-30 minutes into the race, really settling in, getting that first meal going, and then just like clockwork, making sure I keep feeding the system and making sure that I'm getting that intake as best I can. That's just going to help me to sustain that output in the race as long as possible. So that's the first thing. That's what we're really thinking about for nutrition for our race event. We have those two other pillars, if you will, that we need to consider, and that's going to be our hydration as well as our electrolyte management. So let's look at hydration. When we look at our hydration needs, again, our everyday nutrition, we want to make sure that every day we're taking care of our hydration and keeping our body properly hydrated. So let's just, a general rule of thumb, getting about 80 plus ounces of water every day. Leading up to the event itself, the day of the event, I should say, we want to make sure that we're going to basically top off that hydration, basically drinking to thirst. There's no need to overindulge. In fact, you don't want to overindulge prior to the event. And just making sure we're taking good care of that hydration. The event itself, you should plan a target of about 16 to 20 ounces of water for every hour of that event. Obviously, hotter or more extreme conditions, you're going to sweat more, you're going to need a little bit more hydration, or on a cooler day where you're sweating less, you may not need quite as much. But set that as your target. And if you do that, then you're pretty much going to be taking care of the hydration needs that you need for the event. I guess we should talk about your training a little bit too, because some of this becomes a little individualized. Different people are going to sweat different amounts, so your mileage may vary. And so my recommendation there is that during your training, you're taking notes and you're looking at what is right for you and making that adjustment. So on your training, you're including those longer runs, and you're taking good care of your hydration, and you have a very good idea going into race day. It's not a surprise. You know what you need to be bringing on as far as hydration. So that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be electrolyte management. And electrolyte management is something that becomes increasingly important as the duration of that event continues, more than 90 minutes, 2 hours, and so on, and longer events and things like that. So basically, electrolyte management is making sure that you're getting enough of the electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. So what you need to do in order to know the best thing to do to know how much electrolytes you're going to need for your longer events is to do a sweat test with a time trial sweat test. And again, everybody is going to be have a little different individual amounts that they sweat, and the conditions as well. More extreme conditions, obviously, you're going to be sweating more. So for that reason, you want to set up your time trial to be as close and as faithful to the event that you're going to actually be participating in. So here's how you would do your sweat test. Basically, you're going to be doing a 60-minute time trial at your race pace. So Start off by making an accurate measurement of your weight. This means, basically disrobing, getting on that scale, getting a accurate measurement of your body weight prior to your time trial. Get dressed again, get out there. You're basically going to do your 30 or 60-minute time trial. You're going to probably be taking on a little hydration during this, probably 16 ounces of water. And then after you're done with the event, you're going to go back to strip down. You're going to weigh yourself again, and you're going to get your body weight after the event. So now you have to do a little bit of calculation, but it doesn't take too much. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to take your weight prior to the time trial, subtract off the weight, your body weight after the time trial. You're going to have some number of pounds that reflects the amount of hydration or sweat that you lost during the time trial. And you're basically going to add in 1 pound for every 16 ounces of water that you brought on, giving you your total hydration requirements for that time trial. So once you have that in place, that'll give you a really good indication of the electrolytes that you're going to need to be planning for in your actual event. So for every pound of water that you lost, we need to be bringing on 220 milligrams of sodium. We need to be bringing on 63 grams of potassium, and we need 8 milligrams of, I hope I said milligrams, these are all milligrams, don't be taking on grams of anything. So 8 milligrams of magnesium, and I think it's 16 milligrams of calcium. So for every pound of water that you lost during your time trial, that gives you a really excellent idea of the electrolytes that you're going to need. Then come race day, you can modify that a little bit depending on any variation in the actual conditions of the race. So those are the 3 things that you're going to be thinking about. Obviously, if you've got events that are under 90 minutes, then your race day nutrition is going to be more straightforward and going to rely more on your everyday nutrition. As that event gets longer and as the conditions get more and more extreme, then we really need to be planning out that hydration and the electrolyte management as well. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please add those down below, and I'd be happy to try to answer those for you. Thank you guys. Take care and good luck on that event.